WRSR, Owasso, Flint. The following program has been pre-recorded and is paid for by Discover Flint Township. The views expressed are those of Discover Flint Township and do not necessarily reflect the views of 103.9 The Fox or Krill Communications, Inc. Welcome to Discover Flint Township, a program showcasing our local community. Flint Township is ready for your next move. And now, your host, Flint Township Economic Enhancement Director, Tracy Tucker.
And this is Discover Flint Township, brought to you by Flint Township Economic Development Authorities, HAP, Financial Plus Credit Union, Shea Automotive Group, and 103.9 The Fox. We are wide awake, and we hope you are too. This morning, we are speaking with Bill Thena from Financial Plus Credit Union, and we will shine our business spotlight on Culver's. And we have Alex Witkowski with us from Culver's. He's sitting here with me, so, he gets mentioned extra. We will talk more about Culver's later, but let's get started with our first guest, Bill Thena from Financial Plus Credit Union. Hi, Bill. How are you today?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Great. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell our listeners what your role is at Financial Plus Credit Union?
Sure. My name is Bill Thena, as you said, and I am the Learning and Development Manager here at Financial Plus. So I focus a lot on career development and the training that goes into all the employees.
Oh, awesome. So what did you want to talk about today?
Well, I thought it'd be kind of interesting to talk a little bit about credit and credit reports, because that seems to be a topic that impacts a lot of people's lives and is a mystery for most people.
Yeah. That's an important topic too, Everybody's got one. It's kind of like opinions. Some are good and some are bad. But what exactly is a credit report? What exactly is a credit report?
That's a great question, because so what is a credit report? It's one of those things that these companies sit out there. They're called basically credit reporting agencies, and their job is to collect information about each and every one of us, which sounds a little big brotherish, but in reality, they're just being given information from companies we deal with. So every bank, every credit union, businesses that you pay bills to on a regular basis can all interact with your credit bureau. And they're going to take all that information about where you've lived, where you've worked, what you've done throughout your life, and how well you pay your bills, and they're going to put that into a report. And that is essentially what all these businesses are looking at when they pull your credit report, is they're looking at a bunch of your personal information and what you've been doing with your finances.
So that's the kind of stuff that goes into a credit report, and that's how they calculate it, as well as taking whatever scores they're giving to these different parts, and that's how they create the score, or how that's calculated?
I kind of say this. They take something that should be as simple as 2 + 2 = 4, but instead they take 2 + 2 and put it into some funky quadratic equation and come out with something much more complex than that. They're taking information, basically your credit report, to get your score is coming from 5 major areas. So they're looking
first
at
of
your
all,
payment history.
Wait a minute. So first of all, they're using new math?
This is 100% new math. And if you try to show your work, you're probably going to fail. And here's the fascinating thing, before we get into this. Your credit score is not part of your credit report. It's not even on there.
Okay,
and
nice.
Most people don't realize that. So what's happening is every business that pulls credit reports chooses what funky quadratic equation they want to use. So when they pull a report from a company like Experian or Equifax, the individual company might get a different number than the car dealership next to them or the credit card company across the country, because they're each using a different scoring model from your credit report.
Oh, that's kind of crazy.
So I could go to one credit union and get one number, and then go to a bank next door and get a completely different number, even though they pulled the same report.
Oh my goodness. So, okay. I don't even know how to respond to that. I guess, what do we do as a consumer to know what that score is? What does like if I go to, say I'm a member at Financial Plus, which I am. And I also have some accounts elsewhere, but I am a member at Financial Plus. So if I wanted to know what my credit score was, can I go to you and find that out?
The only way your individual banks or credit unions can pull your score is if you're applying for credit. Okay. So we can't see your information unless you're coming in to actually ask for a loan. Okay. You can go to the credit reporting agencies and request it. And in a little bit, I'll give you that information because it's very important you go to the right place to get your information.
Sure.
More importantly than just asking about what your score is knowing how you impact your score. There's 5 major areas that make up your score. And if you do well in each of these areas and understand them, that's how you're going to get the best score possible and really impact it the most. You want to think about, number one, your payment history. When you're thinking about making your payments, when you're looking at your loans, you want to make sure you keep your payment history good, making your payments on time. And on time means any time between the day it's due and 30 days after it's due. If you pay within that time frame, your credit report's going to show okay. It's when you go beyond 30 days that you start getting into trouble with your payment history. The second thing they look at, and the second biggest factor on your score, is how much you owe. So I can make all the payments on time that I want, but if I owe lots and lots of money compared to how much I make, that's going to impact my score. They're going to look at how long you've had credit. So for somebody like me who is seasoned, we might say, I've had a longer credit report than somebody who might be 20 years old, right? And so that's going to show more positively.
I'm seasoned too. Maybe it's Pepper. I'm not sure.
Absolutely. So, lastly, they look at the type of credit you've got. And type of credit is broken down into 3 areas: real estate, so do I have a mortgage, secured loans like a car loan, and then unsecured loans like a credit card. And then finally, they look at, have you applied for new credit recently? So if I just got a car loan 3 weeks ago or a month ago, that's actually going to lower my score because it's new credit and nobody knows, are you going to pay it or aren't you going to pay it? Once I've made some payments on it, once I've gotten a few months into it, then that starts to impact me less. So that's what makes up my credit score, really.
All right. Okay. So, okay.
Hopefully that wasn't too boring.
No, you're fine. No, it's good information. Everybody needs to know about it. What if you're just starting out and you really don't have any credit built up? What's the best way to maybe try to build credit?
That's a really frustrating thing for a lot of young people because you go to apply for a loan and they say, well, you don't have any credit. And then you're like, well, how do I get credit without having credit, right?
Right.
So some companies, some of your banks and credit unions are starting to do programs that build credit for young people. And so, not to pitch us, but here's an example of a program, and several banks have something like this, where you can walk in and they will give you a loan for, let's say, $1,000. Right. And what they're doing is they're not giving you the $1,000. They're putting it into a savings account that you can't touch. And every month you make payments, at the end of the year, they give you your $1,000. So essentially, it's a way to build credit on your credit report that only can be positive. There's no way for it to turn negative for you. So at the end of a year, you now have credit. Right. So that's one way to do it. Another way that you can build credit is you can go on a loan with somebody who is more seasoned. So like a teenager might go on with their parent, and they do the loan together. Right. The positive is the young person's building credit. The negative is that is a loan on the parent's credit report. Right. So if I want to go apply for, if I want to go apply for a new loan, they're looking at this loan that my child's hopefully paying, right. And they're also impacting my income. So it could be a negative to the parent in the long run, but that's the risk that you're taking when you go on a loan with a new person.
Yeah, you just have to make sure they're paying it, or you've got to make the payment because you don't want it to impact your loan, your rating, right?
Yeah, there's no way to get around the fact that if the kid doesn't, if your child doesn't pay or the teenager doesn't pay, they're calling you to pay. So somebody's going to pay the loan.
Yeah. So I've got a tough one for you. How can somebody fix negative things that are on their report?
So this one's always kind of scary to me because you hear ads all the time on the radio or on TV or in Facebook and whatnot about, hey, click here and we'll help you fix your credit, or we'll boost your credit by this many points. The simplest way to fix your credit, number one, is to call the people when you're having problems. Every single bank, every single credit union wants to help you. They don't want to ruin your credit. They don't want your credit to look bad. They want to work with you on the loan. And 9 times out of 10, if you call your credit union and say, hey, I'm going to have trouble making my car loan this month, they will work with you so that doesn't report as a negative payment. The worst thing you can do is ignore the people you owe money to.
Right.
And so communication is the first way to start fixing things. The second thing that you can do to help some negative stuff on your credit report is to figure out whether or not you can simply pay it off. Oftentimes what we see on people's credit reports is you got turned over for collection, which is usually very bad, for $20 from, your cellular carrier.
Yeah.
Well, go pay the $20, right? That's a quick way to fix those kinds of things, and those are some areas where people get more concerned because they just simply didn't pay a little bill here, a little bill there. So going through and working with those people. The other thing you can do is actually pull a copy of your credit report yourself, which you're allowed to do. The government encouraged website for that is annualcreditreport.com. And that's the one the government backs. You go there and they will link you to the bureaus, and you can get a free copy of each of your credit reports from all the different bureaus every year. And you can look at it and see, is the information correct? Good example for myself, when I looked at my credit report a year ago, an address showed up on my credit report that I never lived at. That could, number one, be a sign of potential fraud, but it's also a sign that there's incorrect information. And so that's going to show to your credit score and the people you're trying to borrow from that this person moves around more, and that looks bad for you. So you can fix that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Way.
Oh, go ahead.
No, so you can look at your credit report, and if there's information that's incorrect, you can correct it. And that can bump your score several points, 10, 20 points sometimes, by just correcting little things that might be incorrect on your credit report.
Yeah, I had, and I need to go to one of these places, I guess, contact them. They were showing that I had changed jobs. I've been at the same job for 20 years almost. And it showed that I changed jobs 2 years ago, unbeknownst to me. And I think it had to do with the company went from doing in-house payroll to out-of-house payroll, not outhouse, but out-of-house payroll. And well, maybe it was outhouse. I don't know. But anyway, they changed that, and I think that changed who was reporting the income, and so it changed on his credit score. And it did knock down my credit score too from having a new job that I didn't have. So, so we've got. Let me tell you, we've got 1 minute left.
Go ahead.
So,
okay.
Any last thoughts? Anything that is crucial that people need to know?
I would say the most crucial thing that you need to know is your credit report and your credit score is going to follow you your entire life. You can't get things off of it if they are accurate. So be conscious when you borrow money. You know that you can pay it back. If you're going to get anything through a cell phone carrier, your internet, your utilities, that you're working with those people to make sure your payments are made and they're not reporting anything negative. Because once something gets on your credit report, it doesn't go away.
Sure.
And so I just encourage people to really be conscious of when they're using credit, make sure that they're using it responsibly.
Sure. And so if our listeners would like more information, what's the contact info for you, Bill? or for Financial
So the
Plus?
best place. The best thing they can do is, if they want to stop by a Financial Plus office, they can sit down with any of our financial service representatives or managers, and they will actually help you if you're applying for a loan, or if you want just guidance on how to build a budget or how to use your finances or fix something. They are more than willing to work with people and help them through these issues.
Great. Well, I want to thank you for joining us today. And if people have any questions that they would like to have us answer on the air, you can send those questions to discoverflinttownship@gmail.com. Or like Bill said, if you have specific questions about this, you can go into any Financial Plus credit union in the area, or probably any of your local banks would be able to work with you if you are not a member of the credit union as well. So I want to thank you for joining us today, Bill. It was not the outhouse. It was actually a really good interview with some great information, because this is something that affects everybody. So I want to thank you, and we'll have somebody from Financial Plus on again in a couple weeks. So thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Tracy. Bye-bye.
I want to remind everybody that if you have any questions for us, please email discoverflinttownship@gmail.com or visit us on Facebook at Flint Township Events. You can find all of our shows on our YouTube channel, Discover Flint Township, and we'll also have videos on there of our tours of different businesses now going forward. And if you'd like information on available properties or other information about Flint Township, you can visit our web pages, discoverflinttownship.com or flinttownship.org. And I would once again like to thank everyone for listening today, and thanks to our guests, Bill and Alex. It's been fun. And thanks to our partners, HAP, Shea Automotive Group, Financial Plus Credit Union, and 103.9 The Fox. And next Sunday, we will have Shea on, and Dion Oliver from Guaranteed Rate. This is Tracy Tucker, the Flint Township Economic Enhancement Director. And I would like to remind everyone, stay safe, stay healthy, shop local, buy local, and discover Flint Township. See you later.
This has been Discover Flint Township with Tracy Tucker. For more information, visit discoverflinttownship.com. Flint Township is ready for your next move. The preceding program was pre-recorded and was paid for by Discover Flint Township. The views expressed are those of Discover Flint Township and do not necessarily reflect the views of 103.9 The Fox or Krill Communications, Inc.